Adding as a mod. Wait. Hey everybody, welcome to a really exclusive edition of like whatever you want to call it here. Hold on just a second here.
It always starts up right when you do the live, right? That's when all the action comes in.
Always, yeah. And I just noticed somebody dropped down in the chat, and I'm just waiting to make sure that the live is all working fine and all that kind of stuff. So, because it still says like 10 waiting, but it says we're live right now and that we already have 16 in, but I don't see the video actually going. But anyway, guys, to those that maybe, maybe this is a technical glitch. There it goes. All right, we're in. I just heard it then. So yeah, I don't know, some kind of glitch or something. But hey guys, welcome. This is an exclusive interview with Benny Keyz. You guys, this is going to be an absolutely amazing live. I want to welcome everybody here, to the channel. Shout out to Miss All That. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. I appreciate you showing or coming in. You guys know I've been advertising this today, and thank you for being, working with me on pushing it back. Now, listen, Benny Keyz is, you're going to want to hear what Benny has to say. And this is, he is a friend of Monica Sherrod. Monica Sherrod is the woman who was the caretaker of Gernon. And we all know that case. We've been talking about it. Now, I want to lay some initial ground rules here. Benny will be respected on this panel. You guys already know how I rock anyway, so you should be used to this. If you throw out any kind of disrespectful nonsense, you will be timed out the first time. If you do it again, then you're going to get blocked. So,
thank you, Leak.
Oh, absolutely. Moderators are already aware. We discussed this prior to the live. Thank you. By the way, Shannon, you should be good and modded up now as well on the main channel. And yeah, so if for any reason, because we're already at 43 in the house, and I know this number is going to grow as we continue to talk. I'm not going to be able to shout each and every one of you out like I usually do, but shout out to all of you, all my supporters, all of Benny's supporters. And I want to really get started with this. Benny is handsome, y'all. Damn. Y'all know I'm in the B sector, right? But
you should have saw me at about 2 hours ago. I wasn't nearly this funny.
I'm not going to mention how I met Benny, but I'll mention that I met him on, in another YouTube situation. And I did reach out to Benny because I felt like Benny wasn't really like getting heard, and I wanted to provide an outlet for him to be heard, especially y'all know crimes and justice is my life, and especially with this particular story, it's like I want to hear every single thing Benny has to say. So first off, let's get started. And Benny has agreed to take questions from you guys, but first let us just chop it up. And again, shout out to all of you. I see many of you smash it. Hey, Trish, what's up?
Hey,
I see a lot of you heavy hitters coming in. Come on in. Thank you, guys.
Coast.
Yes, thank you for coming in. Y'all subscribe to the channel. Benny Keyz channel. Also, I'll grab it while we're talking, and we'll drop it here, and my mods will share that so you guys can also sub over to Benny Keyz channel. He's a true crime blogger, too. So that's the other really cool thing that kind of like aligns us together, is that we both have interest in that. So, but let's get started, for what the real reason is why you're here today. So you know Monica Sherrod personally.
Yes, ma'am.
And, just tell us, a little bit about her as a person, like your relationship. Tell us about who you are, Benny, First, tell us, who is Benny Keyz? Tell us that first.
But you know, you know what, you are a great interviewer, Leak, because
Thank you. I've been told that.
yeah,
So that's why I told you, but it is a conversation. So if you start feeling like I'm getting too interviewy on you, just tell me.
No.
But
I grew up in Duncanville, which is where they live right there next to Duncan, well, off of Clark Road. Everyone knows where they live now, but
yeah.
So I ran. You know, I grew up in that neighborhood, and I went to the schools that all of the Sherrod kids have went to, and
Right out to Duncanville, man. Yeah.
yeah, I have a real affinity for that area. And I didn't know Monica before this, and I just, you know, in fact, I stayed away from the case because it was so close to home. In fact, my mom and dad, they live about 4/10 of a mile from Monica and the scene where it happened at. So I just, you know, plus I work with a team, and the team was like, "Hey, this is an open and shut case," and I'm like, "Yeah, I agree." And the details kept coming in, and as the details came, they turned, and they put Monica in the crosshairs. And so it was at that time that I kind of ran to Monica, and I said, "Hey, you know, I'm this person, I do this, and I really
I think
want
we're
an
coming
opportunity
back.
to, you know, at least give you some
I
advice."
think we're coming back. I think we
Sorry.
had some sort of a blip there. Hopefully hopefully Benny comes back back on. Y'all just bear with us here. We had some sort of, there we go. You good, Benny?
Yes,
That
ma'am.
was weird, right? Okay, if that happens again, because I just moved into a new unit, if that happens again, I'm going to go to a place where I have a direct connection to the internet, because we are doing this interview today. So, but let's go ahead. Who is Benny Keyz?
I'm a father, first of all. You know, I got involved with the YouTube to do predator poaching, and I've been successful in catching 44 different online predators, one man twice. And when I came here and I started to get familiar with the way the world actually looks at predator hunters, and I actually realized what it was that I was involved in, you know, I was involved in making the criminals smarter. You know, they realized through messing with me what they needed to do to safely escape or evade contact with me. And I saw that as a real detriment to the movement, to the victims. And that's really where I kind of got my first dose of being a victim advocate. I was like, okay, I actually thought I was doing this for victims, but in actuality, I was making the criminal smarter, thus making the victim more vulnerable. So I became a victim advocate. And
That's and I made sure to put that in the title, because you are a victim advocate, and so that's a great resume, by the way, and a great thing, and we appreciate that, because that's, you know, there's a lot to that. You know, there's a lot to that. So how did you meet Monica?
Essentially what I did was, you know, I had saw so many different channels saying, "Oh, we've had a Cameron sighting," or, "Oh, we're gonna go live in front of Monica's house, like it's
I
Niagara
know.
Falls or something."
You don't even want
And
to
so I
know
said,
my
you know,
opinion.
enough is enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing that too. Matter of fact, I'll even say this
That's so
right now, that
disgusting.
it is disgusting. And there are people that are out here right now building entire blogging careers on a single case, this case. And I've seen it before in the Malia Davis case.
That's what they do.
And that is what they do. They know there's a lot of traffic, you know, going on, and people are talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what they
I think we may have lost you, Leak. Did we lose her, guys? She may need to move. You there, Leak, or is it me? I don't think it's me. Is it me? No. Yeah, Leak's out. Sorry, guys. Leak is stuck. Yeah. So yeah, she asked me, how do I know Monica? I went to Monica's house, and I sat outside for about 5 minutes, and I saw one of the kids walking out. It's one of the neighborhood kids. They were, doing whatever they were doing. And I said, hey, can you tell Monica that there's a gentleman outside named Benny, and I'd like to talk to her. I'm a victim advocate. So she came to the door, and we talked, and we exchanged contact information, and it went from there. I'm hoping that Leak's gonna. Sorry, guys. I miss all that. I'm hoping that she'll jump back on here, because I certainly want to go in the format that Miss Leak would want to have this happen. So thank you, Cheryl Ray. Hi, Sailor, Gulf Coast. Hey. Hi, Trish. You guys, thanks for having me. And Mercy. Thank you, Mercy. You look like your profile picture is attractive as well, ma'am. Just gonna give her a few minutes before we give her an old text to make sure she hasn't been kidnapped. KCK. Hello, Tammy from Texas. Janet Lynn. Hey, sweetie, how you doing? I'm glad you made the trip over. Hi, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Hello. Hi, Sailor again. Shannon, hello. Shannon, my channel is Blood Money Benny Keyz. I know she's Texas in here. Houston. Thank you, Gulf Coast. Right near Magnolia. Nice. Okay. I'm going to text her real quick.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. Amazingly, it's always something, right? It's always something. And it's so weird. I did just move into a new unit 2 days ago, and the internet service is trash. So I really apologize about that. But hey, it's going to be a good conversation when we got tech problems, right?
Hey, the devil is a lie.
Now, hope. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, could you guys just confirm whether or not we seem clear to you, both me and Benny?
Throw a one
Because
up.
Benny's frozen. Let me look on my phone too, because Benny looks frozen to me.
Hey, Trish, man, tell all of them to smash the like. Smash the like, y'all.
Yeah,
Trish wants me to tell them smash the like. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Right. Thank you.
Y'all smash that like.
Benny, there we go. All right, sweet. Hey, we are gonna get this. We are gonna get through this. All right, where were we at, Benny?
How did I meet Monica?
I know we. Yes, yes, yes. How did you meet Monica, Sherrod?
Well, I had friends that lived right on that street and, around her, and I already knew where the house was by seeing it. So I just drove over there, and it took me about 19 minutes to get to her house. And I sat out front for a moment, and then I saw some kids coming and going and playing and stuff. And so I just rolled the window down and hollered out to one of the kids, "Hey, go tell your mom that there's a gentleman named Benny in the front, and I'm a victim advocate, and I'd like to have a talk with her." And she apprehensively came out, and we talked, and then we shared contact information, and it's been on since then.
Wow, yeah. That's good though. I mean, that's exactly how advocates operate though. It's not, we've
Right.
seen Quanell X.
Yeah.
He's a victim advocate in Houston. Like that is how, and sometimes like in situations like that, it's great when someone comes who is familiar with things that are tragic like that can help kind of like just get through the day of like,
Right.
what is this? What is normal? Like, should I do a news conference? Should I, like,
Yeah.
a counselor I can speak to? I mean, all those sorts
Right.
of things. And,
Yep.
so, I mean, I know there was a lot of questions getting asked of you last night, and so I don't want to teeter on anything,
Sure.
personal at all, as far as, any subject that would make you uncomfortable. Um, I'm curious, about Monica and Darion's relationship. And so is that a topic we can discuss?
There wasn't much of a relationship. What I can
Okay.
tell you is, if I can give you a little chronology about how Monica even knows Darion. So,
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah. So, um, Monica's mother, Leslie, I can't comment on to what was the deal or whatever. But uh, Monica's mother, Leslie, ended up with the children for the better part of 2 years. The whole 2 years, she didn't know where the mother and the children were. And she'll tell you
And
she
are
was
we
going
talking
through
about Monica's children? You're talking
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
Monica's kids
yeah.
or?
I mean, yes,
Okay,
Monica's
gotcha,
children.
gotcha.
She was just going through a transition in life, and her mother reached out, under the guise of helping her, and then kind of ran off with the children, and that loss of the children there, it played its part on Monica, and she ended up getting into some trouble, and this is all public record, and she got into some trouble, and then she did about an 8 or 9 month jail sentence. At which time, when she was released, she went. A friend of hers, we'll call him that friend, helped her find the location of where the children were with Leslie. And so Monica went there, and Darion had already been living there. Um, Leslie had a house initially with Kurt, and when Monica got out of incarceration, her mom went ahead and said, "Here, here's the house, here's the kids, everything's together." But unbeknownst to Monica, Darion had already lived there for an entire school year. So it's when people talk about what's Monica's involvement with Darion, Monica's involvement with Darion was always kind of like shoe fly, if that makes sense.
I'm so sorry. Like I don't
No,
even say. Like when I tell you that I am going to have a fit with the property manager, like How dare you? And I'm talking, I've got a list of like 8 internet connection points. And I've connected to 4 of them so far. And I hope this one works. So I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties, y'all.
No, do you ever use a VPN or anything, Leak?
No, I have
Okay.
oh, I do, but not right now.
Right.
Anyway. So let's hopefully this will work. So anyway, the last part that I heard was that Monica's mother had kept the children for the last 2 years. I didn't hear anything else
I think she froze again.
after that because of
oh, there we go.
There we go. Did you hear me? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was catching you intermittently.
Missing me. If I'm telling you, if this keeps on, just stay connected, because if I have to, I will go to that other unit and plug up directly, because we've got almost 100 people in the room right now. So,
yeah.
But anyway, go ahead and continue the chronology.
So there was some sort of issue with Brown, with Darion, and with Alex, his younger brother, and they got in. They couldn't get along there at the house with the stepdad and with the mother, so they ended up running into to Leslie. I'm not sure about how all that came together, but what I know is that they stayed, the two brothers stayed there for a school year, and then at some point during the end of the school year, Miss Brown called the social services.
Okay.
I don't know.
Here's what we're gonna do.
What the cause of? Did you hear me that time, Lee?
I'm going to go plug up into another unit because this is crazy. I tried even my hotspot for my phone, but still, it's just not holding it, I guess.
Okay.
So just keep, if you stay connected, the live will stay on, and I will be right back up. I actually, you know what? Why do I even need to be on my laptop? We're not sharing anything. Screw this. I'll get off the Wi-Fi altogether and connect to my phone. What the hell am I talking about? That's what's up. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
What the hell am I talking about? All right, hold on. We are gonna do this. Hold that.
I appreciate everybody being patient here. Dear Dex,
now I think
we've been friends a couple weeks now. 10 days.
All right, guys, we should be good now. I believe we should be good to go now, because I'm no longer on the Wi-Fi. I'm on the cell tower and we're on the phone. And so, Vinny, I'm not sure what happened, but here he is. Well, no, there he is. Let's add him on back. All right. Hey, Vinny. Hey, this is better, right?
Tag, you're it. I think we got it now, though.
I think we got it now, guys. Thank you so much for all your patience.
No, it's part of it, right?
It is. You know what it is? It's the devil. It's just nothing but the devil trying to stop us from doing what we're meant to be doing right now. So, Yeah, but I think we're our straight now. So yeah, let's hear that chronology.
So okay, you know, some of it, anything that happened before Monica comes around, I have a contextual. I have context as far as you know, the details and that it happened. But a lot of the dates and the time frames, you know, I don't have a lot of context in. So
Sure.
Monica was not there, and um, Darion was just a neighborhood boy. His brother Alex was running around. He was a neighborhood boy. And for whatever reason, I don't have a context about that, but there was an issue in the Brown home in which Darion and Alex left the Brown home, and they ended up over with Leslie and Kurt at the house they're at now. And they lived there for, like I said, the better part of the school year. She says a school year, so you know,
Okay.
9-10 months, whatever.
Right.
And then yeah, and then for whatever reason, Miss Brown called the social services CPS, and the boys were taken away from Leslie's residence. But they did come back a subsequent time for a short period. But
Okay.
both of these times in the context that I understand, Monica was not there while Darion was living there.
Gotcha. Because people have wondered about that relationship and just like how, like, it's just so weird that someone would just walk in someone's home and just take a child out of a sleeping bed. And it's like, has he
Correct.
been there before? You know, like, why did he feel so comfortable to just walk into this home and do this? You know,
Yeah.
and you can tell from the Daily Mail interview that she did that she was, you know, legitimately upset, you know, about the whole situation.
Absolutely. You know, yeah,
there has
and
been a lot of
unfortunately, because
criticism.
that's all they have of Monica. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because all they have of Monica is the Daily Mail segment. Daily Mail did some things, you know, cinematography wise and with the editing that
Yeah.
really made her in a bad light. And so, you know, there had been a ton of people coming in and out of the house, you know, police and everybody else, and you know, they wanted to immediately say, "Oh, look, she's on drugs," you know, not understanding that she,
Hey guys, I'm still here. Did we lose any? You guys still see me? Benny? I'm connected. Is it buffering? Yeah, if Dear Dex says another thing, he can be blocked. Okay,
no,
all right.
someone
I
is.
just didn't know if that was me or you.
No, I get, you know, I get the same as anything. Every single way I can be attacked on the phone while I'm on live, they do it. It's the same. So I mean, you know, a lot of people have been blaming Monica
Internet.
for
Maybe if I step outside, I'll get a better connection. Let's try that. But no, Dear Dex is already on thin ice. Say another thing and you will be blocked. I already gave these ground rules at the beginning of the live, dude, whoever you are. And that goes for any of you. If you come in here dragging or saying anything negative or trying to bring up past stuff about Benny, then you're going to be escorted up out of here. We're not here for that. You know,
well,
I don't care about.
I mean, I can explain. I can explain.
I got a past. I could explain a hell of a past to you, Benny. We don't care about that. Honestly, we don't.
No, I mean, so people have their opinion of Monica, and so because I'm a victim advocate, and because I stand in the way between Monica and the public in the best way that I can.
Right.
It makes me a target for all sorts of things, you know, because I support someone who has had a past drug problem. I must be a current drug user. That's
Right.
actually called, there's a term for it, Leak. It's called ad hominem. And what that is it's an attack on someone's personal character, rather than the stance that they maintain. It's much easier to say, oh, look at Benny's got, you know, he's going bald on one side, than to say, oh,
Right.
he's really smart and we can't out talk him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
deal
that's
with
what
ad
it is.
hominem attacks too. But you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
Dex, what it is I'm a victim advocate. And I shadow and mimic the police movement. So as long as Monica is on this side of the bars, to me, I believe everything she says, right? If at some point the police change their focus, then Monica knows I'm on her helmet, right? She's got me to worry about now, because not only now have you lied to me, now you're a suspect as well.
It's kind of like what we think in the Quanell X situation. He was absolutely down with Brittany Bowens, you know, and when things changed, then he did what was morally what he felt was right to do, and that would be expected of any victim advocate, you know.
That's it. And not only that, Leak, but if we don't have a community of people that are willing to stand up for the victims. Now, this is the deal. It's not that they're the victims of a crime. They're the marginalized victims of a crime, right? You've got people that live in a particular socioeconomic. You've got people that live in a particular district or province in their county. And that socioeconomic, you're familiar with Duncanville, where they live at. Right across Clark Road is Duncanville proper, right?
Right.
That's where the houses start at like 250, 300,000.
Right.
Where they live at, you get a house over there for about 80,000. Right. So it's a different socioeconomic. Okay. And so when you find these people that were marginalized by society, whether it be drug use or a criminal background, that all.
Always. The criminal background is always used in every situation almost, when it comes to these types of situations. Can't hear me?
There
we go.
Hear you now. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's weird. Hey, it's nothing but the devil, y'all, but we appreciate y'all sticking with us.
That's it.
My goodness, that's crazy. But you know, it's just, you're absolutely right about that. And there is like a you know, a stigma basically placed.
There is.
You know,
if you're marginalized, you know, if you're marginalized by society, and you happen to lose possession of a child in any sort of way, they could have the killer on footage, but that's not enough.
Right.
Monica's got to be guilty some kind of way, right? We've got to make, like, Brown and his accomplice. That's not enough justice. We want more.
Do you think Brown has an accomplice?
I mean,
or do you think he did it by himself?
All I know is that the family has stood by from day one or day two, saying that there was a Hispanic, I don't want to say boy or man, I don't know, a teenager, that kind. If you go and look at Mr. Pinkerton's social media, he's got that narrative. Monica speaks the same narrative, and so they've given me no reason to disbelieve that there wasn't a second. And I don't want to call him a suspect, because if someone was videoing all of these events, but they were prefaced before that, hey, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to stick you with this knife too.
Right.
You can get somebody to effectively do a lot of things against their will if you follow. So
absolutely.
There was a Mexican gentleman that allegedly turned over a phone that had this footage. Allegedly Brown videoed some of this stuff himself as well.
Oh, really?
So
I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. You mean
And
video footage of like him
some
committing some
some
acts,
aspects
some
some
aspect
aspects of this
of the
crime,
act?
yeah,
Can I
is a
ask you
video.
something?
Sure.
And I know it's going to be like, and if you don't want to speak on it, you don't have to. But I'm asking your opinion. Do you think that it's possible that Darion Brown was sexually motivated to commit
Absolutely.
this crime?
Absolutely. So if I could talk a little bit about Brown's pathology and his
I would love to. Yeah,
methodology.
I'd love that.
Yeah, as far as criminal methodology, when you start to look at a person that wants to abduct children, you have a specific genre of offender. Now, when you
And
have
let's
enough,
mention he did try 2 months prior as
correct,
well to abduct
correct,
a 2-year-old child,
correct.
but
That was a
luckily
female.
the grandfather, which means he has no preference then.
That's it. That's what makes him very dangerous, because when you look at what you call serials, they have a preference. They hunt in their own ethnic background.
Correct.
Right? Mexican serial killers kill Mexicans, or lighter skin typically. Black serial killers kill blacks. And we know this. This guy, had he gotten off the ground, would have been an especially heinous monster, because his fingerprint isn't specific to anything in general, right? He could have killed kids. He could have killed, I think he would have
old people. He could have killed middle age. Yeah, like there's
absolutely.
no specific,
Yeah. He liked soft targets. That's what we
profile.
call them. He profiled soft targets, vulnerable targets. He did not engage men that were of a physical attribute close to himself.
Because he wouldn't be able to beat him physically.
He's scared. Yeah, he only preys on. So what that gives you is, it gives you a little insight into the mind of a child that was probably bullied in some respects. Now, I asked a little bit as to why he may have been bullied, and there was kind of a common thread, that there was a lot of people in that community that thought that potentially Brown was a homosexual.
Really?
Yeah. So,
interesting.
and you start to deduce the pathology that you have a young man that may be battling with his sexuality, and he's just rageful, angry about it. Not only that, but we know that there was some methamphetamine use and some ecstasy use and GHB use by the boys. So, I don't know if there's anyone out there that knows. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I just
the-
wanted to be specific about that, because there has been questions about whether Darion, experimented with drugs. I mean, he's 18, and a lot of kids experiment with drugs at that age. But just the way he was acting, it's like, is he mentally unstable? Is this a drug induced?
So the other thing as advocates, that if I know Leak, I know but there's a lot of people out there that don't know exactly what advocates do. Part of what I also do is I try to protect the jury pool, the potential jury pool. See, Leak and I
talk about that a little so people can understand what you mean.
Yeah,
because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Leak and I, we live here, right? And it's not just because we live here, but I have a particular interest in making sure that the online media has a yin and a yang as far as the narrative is concerned. Because what happens is that in the Derek Chauvin case, or in the Gernon case, for instance, it's going to be impossible to find 14 jurors. That's 12 in the box and 2 alternates.
Right.
That are going to be able to sit on this jury and say they haven't seen that video, right? So if you've seen that video,
that is correct.
Unless you absolutely hate children, and then even then you have a bias against children, there's no way to look at that video and not be enraged in some sort of way. So you will never ever successfully get a jury that you can pull in Dallas County
of your peers. Exactly. That's right.
that will
That
vote
know nothing about
to
this
put the
case.
needle in that man's arm, right? So what we have
Yes, that is.
also is we do have this racial overtone, right? Brown was the day or 2 days before, he was in a confrontation with a white gentleman in which he had his genitals out, and he was breaking things in the neighborhood. And this white gentleman comes out.
Wait a
and he
minute,
says, "Hey, man,
Darion Brown had his genitals out?
yeah. He was just flashing himself around. Go look at the channel, Stop the Madness. He had an anonymous
Yes,
neighbor
I was
from
just featured on Stop the Madness on Madness's channel. Shout out to Madness, by the way. He's pretty cool.
That
But
neighbor,
no, I was not aware of this.
Yes, he was flashing his genitalia. He was breaking things, and then when this Caucasian gentleman came outside and told Darion, "Hey, I'm about to call the police," he said, "You better take your white ass in that house." And then Darion said to him, and he's holding a hammer while he's doing this also. He says, "This is a bloodletting, and I will come back and kill your whole white family."
Wow. Now this is breaking news to my audience. I had no idea.
It was featured on Stop the Madness. So 48 hours later, approximately 48 hours later, he takes the little white boy and butchers him. So now what we have, Leak, is we have,
and then he came back for the second one. He came back for his brother.
Correct. We have the Dallas Morning News, and we have WFAA, and we have all of these other suspect advocacy outlets that are trying to make this man crazy. Let me tell you why this man. Let me tell you why this man wasn't crazy. This man had been in enough trouble in that neighborhood. See, that area of Dallas is an island, right? If you go across Clark Road, it's Dallas County. So Dallas police or Duncanville police don't come across that line unless it's certain kind of thing. To get Dallas police out there from, I don't know, Copper Hill, Camp Wisdom, down 20, and then up up Mountain Creek to Florina, it's going to take you 20, 25 minutes.
Exactly.
He knew
you are correct.
The response time. Okay. So let me tell you what he also didn't do. He didn't hunt for little children in his own neighborhood. Why? Because he knows it's wrong.
He didn't want to shit where he eats.
That's right. Crazy people, they don't dictate themselves like that.
That's
crazy people prey on the people that are closest to them.
Yep.
So what
he didn't want to shit where he eats.
No, Dallas Morning News, also his stepdad's a cop, right? So of course he doesn't want to go try to snatch a little kid from right where he's in that neighborhood all the time is it's a precarious, right? So he
Good point. Now I didn't know the stepfather was a cop either.
This boy doesn't
there's a lot about this. I mean, that some of these intimate details that I know even my audience may not know. And I had no idea that his stepfather was a police officer, which kind of now makes sense as to why DPD is moving the way they are now. I thought it was because, they are taking their time. This case is bigger, if not, it is just as big, if not bigger than the Malia Davis case, was. But now, knowing that the stepfather is a police officer, well, that brings a whole nother element to this.
He's under investigation as well.
Oh, wow.
So let me give you just a little more chronology, and we'll work this thing like a Tarantino, kind of back to front to back.
Yeah.
Right? So you've got Darion, who's involved with the Grand Theft Auto and an evading arrest.
I did see those charges. Yeah.
Okay, so he commits those 2 acts. That's 2 felonies right there. Right. Texas is a 3-strike law. Right.
Yeah.
So he commits these 2, and then the last time he comes on the books is for burglary and for attempted kidnapping of the Hispanic girl. Right. So a lot of people have it. So either way, this man was in a place logistically in his criminal career where he should have been receiving very high bonds that were going to be hard to obtain, or no
Yes.
bonds whatsoever.
Yes.
Because he's on probation currently. He's on supervision. Doing these things in the neighborhood.
Usually you'll get a no bond until you see your probation officer in those sorts of situations.
Automatically, every time. Every time.
Like everybody knows that. Wow.
So Brown.
The whole element.
Well, I mean, check this out. So the newest thing that you hear from Dallas Morning News is that Monica hurried up and rushed right over while Darion was in the cop car for punching the old Mexican man and trying to take the baby, right? And then allegedly Monica said, "Oh, no, please don't take him to jail. He's troubled in the mind."
Yes, I have read that. Yep.
How could Monica have that power judiciously to tell a cop? No, I'll tell you what happened. Monica went over there and told the police he's a troublemaker. And then when they took the boy down there and they found out his dad was a cop, instead of charging him, he got a psychiatric evaluation instead. So then what happened 3 days later after that?
They sent him for a psychiatric evaluation. Then
what happened? Then they cut him loose.
Because 3 days, I think, is the longest amount you can hold someone.
5150.
So if they're not found to be a threat to themselves or others,
you got to let them go, or you got to get a mental health warrant to hold them, right?
Stepdad, yeah, exactly. You have to get a court order.
Right. So let me tell you this.
Wow.
A lot of people. I see that a lot of people have receipts for these new charges he has and everything. But let me tell you this. He didn't kidnap the little Mexican girl. He attempted to kidnap her. The charge he has now is for kidnapping, correct?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? I don't know.
Yep.
It certainly would fit the narrative for Dallas to hurry up and throw all these old charges from the first abduction attempt, put them on now out of embarrassment, right?
Well, it's because it is pretty embarrassing that they knew who it was who did this, and then now they later, kill someone, a child who they kidnapped, and it's like it's mud on their face, absolute mud on their face.
This is a systemic problem of what you call professional courtesy, okay? When one cop pulls over another cop, when the cop's walking up, he'll hand him his license and say, "Yeah, we're looking for a little professional courtesy." That's code word between cops to say, "Hey, I'm a cop. Don't fuck me over," right? And they get that professional courtesy, right? So if you've got a cop who's, I don't know anything about this man, but let's imagine that he must have been declarated or accommodated in some way. He wasn't no foot soldier stormtrooper to have all this stuff repressed about. This stuff was suppressed by the Dallas police. These things could not be suppressed by Monica unless she had a degree in law or criminal justice, right? She doesn't. No one can advocate for someone to not be charged with kidnapping and assault and burglary.
For them to go for a psychiatric evaluation. No civilian can do that.
No civilian.
And let me just say really quick, yes, I do read the comments, but right now I'm enthralled in listening to Benny right now. So I am not reading the comments because I do not want to be, there's a lot of questions coming in, but as towards the end, we will be taking questions and I will be reading comments. So just FYI on that to everyone. And the other thing is, please watch, no negative comments. No, we're not here. No one's going to be dragging Benny Keyz. Please, I don't want anyone dragging Monica Sherrod as well. in this situation. So if any comments like that come up, you will be timed out the first time. If you do it again, you will be blocked. And so I'm just letting you know, those are the instructions given to my moderators. Please respect it.
Would you like to know what Monica is guilty of? Monica's guilty of something, and she's big time guilty for it. But guess what? So are all the rest of us. You want to know what that is? That's having a past. She has a past. That's her only crime. And that was the first thing they did, was threw her mugshots up and talked about her criminal background, you know. Did she even look drugged out in that arrest photo? She looked very healthy. She looked like she had some weight on her. Yeah. So, I'll tell you now. She looks like she had some weight on her in the Daily Mail, but yeah, that has been the number one thing they have said, is that she is, uses meth or whatever. Right. Yeah. Let me tell you something. That's been the number one thing you've heard. I now, don't quote me, because I'm not a statistician on Monica's arrest records, but I believe that it's an arrest from December 2019. I believe. Okay. She's on bond and on supervision for that now. So she is regularly urine tested. Okay. Gotcha. Now that's something they haven't told us. Of course not. That's something, I mean, that means quite a lot. Yeah. In fact, her bail bondman is actually supporting her in a way that they don't have to during this time. Which I think bail bondsmans don't. Yeah. They don't. Wow. So she really they're pretty cut and dry. They're like, you got our money, Yeah. She actually, she has a bail bondsman that understands the way life is unfolding and being peeled for her, right? So that's what Monica's guilty of, is from having a past that could be used against her in a future incident, right? We all have that. Right. No, Sailor Vegan, I will not. That's a personal thing. I think if that's something that she wants to talk about, she'll tell that herself. So please don't put that in the chat anymore. I'd appreciate that. But this, we were talking about the sexually assaulting, part. And one of the other questions that I had was, do you believe, that he has sexually assaulted, Cash before, just from being around? Or did he, were there ever any proclivities possibly? No. So this was just like. It just was a progression. It was a progression in his activities that was really, so to speak, it's a terminology almost like called manic. Yeah, it's when you raise the bottom. It's called raising the bottom, right? It's so when someone's going to hit the bottom and the bottom gets raised up. I think that anything that Brown could have been involved in, Brown is not a good criminal. He does not play hide and go seek. No, he's not. Police well. So had he done anything previously, it would have already been out there, Right. Yeah. Wow. I wonder if there's any, victims or anything that, we may not know about, or I wonder when he kind of like started escalating these sorts of activities, with the prowling. And we know going back 10 weeks, we see him on video, he was even peeping in Monica's backyard, and it was caught on camera and she didn't even know it. Yeah. And he was opening people's car doors and prowling through the neighborhood. But what's interesting is we haven't seen any video of him carrying Cash outside down the street anywhere yet, and I don't know who made the decision to put the nanny cam in that home, but shout out to them for that. For sure. That was one of the best things, that, like, if it wasn't for that nanny cam, this case could be going a whole different way right now. It would be. It absolutely would be. Absolutely. I mean,
It's just,
without a doubt.
yeah,
You have people. What happens is you have the strange shadow court, and it's called the Court of Public Appeal, and we see it
yeah.
in a lot of high profile cases where,
And this is a
um,
high profile case.
yeah, the general public can jump on a bandwagon, and what they can do is they can stand out in front of courthouses and they can picket for what they think they want. And prosecutors and county government are sometimes, they're pressured by that to appease the
Correct.
public. So,
That's
yeah,
right.
and we have a systemic issue here in Dallas where um, under 2/3, but over 1/3 of all major felony cases get overturned at court level. What we have in Dallas is also a systemic bail for profit issue. So it's try to lock up anybody
Oh,
we
yeah.
can, and then
Yes.
we'll get the bond money. We'll keep all of the per diem, because for every person that checks in, they get a government check for each person that comes in the door, right?
And do you
So,
know that they're giving out payment plans? Can you believe
oh yeah,
that? You can go to jail on a felony charge and bond out under a payment plan.
yep.
I've never seen anything like it. It wasn't that way. I went
But
to jail
no,
many years ago for
yeah,
a minimal crime, but
yeah,
I was, we're now doing payment plans on bonds
yeah. I mean,
from
and
the
let
inmates
me,
themselves. It's
yeah,
like setting people up for failure.
absolutely. And get ready, because this last week there was a new, and I don't want to get off topic, but this will change how you and I live here in Dallas. Governor Abbott
Yeah.
signed the new license to carry bill. You no
Yep.
longer need a license to carry a gun in Texas. Anybody
Yep.
can tuck a pistol in the front of their pants, or sling it over their back, or put it in their boot, and go anywhere they want, as long as it's not
Yep.
one of the 51 or the 4951, like a Chili's that makes more of their
Right.
money from alcohol. So yeah, anybody can carry a gun now.
And I seen people bragging about it too, saying things like, "Oh, you come close to me, I'll shoot you." We're in Texas. I carry everywhere.
Yep,
So people are kind of like, using that, and
absolutely,
yeah, and it's not good, but Texas is that way. It's deeply red, and
absolutely.
there is potential of it turning purple, though. I mean, the last election was very interesting, but it's a deeply red state, and that is
Yeah,
one thing. You are right. You don't have to have a license, which
nothing.
means that, I mean, we can already buy guns fairly easy at gun shows
Sure.
based on trust. You don't
Yeah,
always have to get a background check. That's
no.
just at the pawn shops. Go
Yeah,
to a
and
gun
it's
show, and
yeah, and
if I trust you enough, I'll sell you the gun.
and that's where you have the real dangerous purchase. It's called a straw purchase, and that's
Right.
when a felon sends someone inside to buy the gun, or a felon
Right.
goes in a gun store, or in a gun show, and convinces someone to sell it to them without the background check. That's a
Or the
straw purchase.
cartel goes
Yeah,
to the gun shows and gets,
absolutely.
we know of several times where that has happened.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. So, how is Monica doing?
Not well.
Emotionally, mentally,
Not well. Not
with
well
this
at all.
whole situation.
It's not. It's so bad that just being as close to her as I am, it's infectious, right? Like, it's just, they weren't real social media minded, driven people, and now the phones don't stop, and it's all the time the kids running in there and they're saying, "Oh my goodness, look what they're saying now, Mom," and it's just there's no reprieve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I can just imagine, because I know what I've seen on some of the things, and it is so easy for people to judge based on what we don't know. And even
absolutely.
I have said things, as well. And we do it because, it's not very often we get to talk to someone who knows, someone in a
Right,
case. And it
right.
sure provides a different perspective. And,
Yes.
but like you said before, there is this narrative that is being put out and reinforced because we know that bloggers also just copy each other,
That's it.
newspapers or news agencies or whatever you want to call them. We've got these websites that call themselves news sites, and they absolutely just copy they just
Well, I
copy
mean,
paste,
if
and
you
it only reinforces the narrative. And it doesn't
absolutely
mean that narrative is true.
no, exactly. When you look at the way bad media, let's say, for instance, in this case, the way I look at bad media, it spreads like pandemic, right? The people that spread bad narrative are probably the same people that spread the coronavirus. There's just a lack of, there's just a lack of either of self-awareness or awareness for the public. Maybe it's an intelligence issue, some sort of deficit. But if you're capable of carrying a bad narrative, you're capable of carrying syphilis or gonorrhea or COVID or, any of these other things that are nasty too, right? If you carry one thing, you look good to me for being able to carry all of it.
It's really easy to get up here on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and Periscopes and all these different platforms and hit that live button and just, although we call it commentary, a lot of it is opinion based.
That's
And
it.
it's so easy to say things about people that, when you don't know them. And I think, this can serve as a bit of a lesson, I think, for a lot of people, that it's not always what it seems, from
It's
the internet.
it's
It
hardly ever
really
what it
isn't. And
seems.
go ahead.
I've watched, or I don't watch them. I've been sent so many videos that have this narrative about this rug that they saw the FBI unrolling in the front yard at Monica's, and it looked really cinematic, right? It's what you got to understand is that all the action went on in the inside of the house. So anything that happened outside, the news were going to film it and make it look really good. And so everyone's like, no,
Yeah.
no, we haven't heard it. We haven't heard anything about that rug. I think they must have carried the boy in the rug. Don't you know when I go over there and I knock on that door, I stand on top of that same rug? It's been raining. You know how much it's been raining here. That rug has been out there
Oh,
in that
wow.
yard or sitting up like that. It's the police didn't take nothing. What they did was they unrolled it to make sure, and then there wasn't nothing, and they threw it to the side, right? So, I mean,
Wow.
it's insane. They
Were the
actually have
police there
legitimately
like for days
do what?
investigating? Were the police there for like days investigating? Because that's the, preface that people are under. Because again, we didn't know the stepfather police officer, which could change some things. But did they
Correct.
give that type of investigation just from your experience, because of how high, how much this is a case that is just very well known? I
Right.
mean, did they seem to give it the level of investigation that they should have?
I think that they absolutely. I think that they absolutely showed force like they did. Like they we know that they brought out the FBI evidence collection team, and a lot of people are trying to deduce what they think that means. What that means is that if you know logistically, let's say for instance Monica lives here, and let's say for instance Brown lives over here, right? And then let's say for instance the boy was dumped over here. Well, when you add up all this logistics, you've got some potential for over a square mile of crime scene. So they wanted to bring out the best and all of that. So I think they put on a good show. But I think what's going to be very interesting is the lack of the lack of intervention in Brown's life. And I think that it's going to be very easy for the public to draw and connect the dots that, Brown was out there messing up on good folks' money, and he wasn't getting in trouble. Now, when you start to ask, why is someone doing all this crazy stuff and not getting in trouble? And then you figure out, oh, his dad's a cop. Okay, well, that makes sense. So it's an issue
he was
where
terrorizing that neighborhood, period.
That's it.
Like,
I mean,
he was terrorizing that neighborhood.
I hope that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to me, it just felt like the way that he went into Cash's room like that and then came back for the brother. It was like he treated them like they were prey, like he was some animal, like a lion who is, has their prey cornered somewhere. And to think that he would literally come back at 7:30 in the morning. And there is talk about it appearing like he might have been looking through the window in one part of that nanny cam footage, but I've not been able to confirm that at all.
I'm actually, in real life, I'm an audio engineer, and I'm a music video director. And I've had so many people wanting me to load that video into the main
and like enhance it.
And I can't. I tell you what, Leak. I woke up one morning and I flicked on the YouTube after I'd washed my face, brushed my teeth, got my coffee, and the first thing I saw was that video, and it was like my soul just. My soul just dropped out, and it's like it's such a graphic video. I did a small audio deduction on the secondary return, but I just can't look at the first one enough to do any justice for it. It's too much for me.
Yeah, there are some videos in life that are so deep and hurtful to watch, and I can tell you that's in my top 10. It's very difficult to watch that video. It is extremely disturbing. I kind of, as I was watching it, and I have watched it several times because that's what I do. Not many people can do it. That's why I kind of step in and do it and do the things that a lot of people can't do. But it seemed almost as if he was wrestling with himself at one point. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? He seemed, and that's why I even said, like, he seemed like he was comfortable enough to even just like come in someone's house like that.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world would have made him feel like he could just do something like that,
I mean, you have to ask yourself what would be going through the mind of someone that was walking those steps in those shoes that night. And I don't want to advocate that the boy is crazy, because then they'll just send him up to Terrell.
Yeah.
You know where that's at.
Yeah.
They'll just send him to Terrell, and he'll get breakfast buffet, lunch buffet, dinner buffet.
Yeah.
Nice good meds at nighttime.
He's not, but the thing is, did he know difference between right and wrong,
Absolutely.
Benny? And
Absolutely.
and I agree, because we watched him wrestle with his decision. Should he do it? Should he not?
He changed clothes too, right?
Yep, he sure did.
Why?
He sure did. He had blood all over the
biological evidence. He didn't want to put blood in there. He was trying to get away with it, but got caught.
I wonder if those clothes have been found, or like the original.
They've been found.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually had this is gonna be, I don't know if I should say it or not, but I'm gonna go ahead because it just is what it is. I had someone point out to me that's I won't say what they do, but they work in open source intelligence, and I had them watch the video, and we were able to deduce that, in deduction basically means what it is. You take away, subtract what you take away from something. I didn't watch it to confirm it. She did make a clip explaining it to me. It did appear that Brown had a semi-erection while he was there.
I noticed that also.
Yeah.
You're talking about in the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say anything to anyone about
He
that.
was
I kept that
already
to myself. I noticed that as
sexually
well.
stimulated. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, you know, I've always had that question, is if this was sexually motivated. And, you know, also too, Benny, do you surely, you grew up in Duncanville, you know how odd it is for a black man to kidnap a white child.
It
It's
doesn't happen that way.
no, it's
We
so
we as humans, we usually offend against our own race, typically. Now,
right,
if we have the bully mentality, then we typically just look for soft, vulnerable targets. But when we offend against people, we usually offend against. Let's be real. We offend against our own family 40% of the time, right? Domestic
right,
violence is the number one
right.
reason police come to the house, and that's always family against family. So
Yep.
we always fight with people in our own ethnic, exchange. So this guy
Yeah.
was just a different kind. And what I'll say is that that war that you saw where he's like,
Yeah, like he kept like wrestling with the
right,
yeah.
right. Now, to me, and my deduction is for him to have even been standing on that stage where he finds himself fighting with it one way or another,
Mm-hmm.
that he was led there by a virtue of chemical enhancement. He was on something that had him making bad decisions already. He was on something that already appeared to have him in some phase or spectrum of sexual
Right.
excitement.
Correct.
He wasn't kidnapping the boy to hold for ransom later, or he didn't hold the boy to make a lampshade out of him. Like it was sexually
Right.
motivated. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't see what other thing it could be. Although I know, and this is all opinion and alleged and speculation, guys, as far as, what I'm saying. So don't take what I'm saying to heart. But I couldn't bring myself to tell my audience that I seen him with a semi-sexual erection in that video. But
Right.
I can absolutely confirm that that is true. He definitely
Yeah.
seemed somewhat sexually
Aroused.
excited,
Yeah.
aroused. You could see
Yeah.
that he was
Yeah.
poking out there. And all
Right.
you have to do is
Right.
just go back and look at the video and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And what's even crazier to me, Benny, he comes back for the second child. And
Yeah.
when they say that meth, you can be sexually driven when
Oh
you
boy.
use meth. And
Yeah.
I'm
I'm an
just like, okay,
ex-user.
he didn't get
Yeah.
enough. Okay.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's true that you can like go for hours on if you're like
I've
doing
been
meth.
clean. Right. I've been clean over 4 years now. And that was what
Congratulations,
was,
by the
thank
way.
you. That was what was attractive about it to me. I was with my wife and we were just, guy friend and girlfriend then. And I was able, it was a different time in life.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that's becomes the drive is when you start mixing psychosis with feeling good and then sex. And then, there's a lot of depravity
Right.
sexually in that world.
Right.
And yeah, methamphetamine, there's a phenomenon with methamphetamine and we see it here in Dallas where we have a large gay, they call it a neighborhood. And what happens is some of these dealers they're homosexual, they'll start dealing to guys that are straight. And then next thing you know, the straight guy's over here and he's the boyfriend to this gay guy and he's doing this meth and it rewires. Meth actually rewires your pathways permanently, whether it be, damaging
wow.
or
I didn't
otherwise.
know that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
permanently. So that is always the side effect of meth is a sexual proclivity.
So it's almost like, and I'm just speculating here, that he could have been, I mean, they were prey to him in a sexual
Absolutely.
way, you know?
Absolutely.
And I don't know is there any indication on what possibly spooked him the second time when he came back? And he seemed to have gotten spooked and walked away.
You know,
Um,
no
but the
one seems
brother,
to
like,
know.
he had been up walking around. It's almost like God touched him on the shoulder that night, the brother Carter, because he was up, during part of the nanny cam footage.
Correct.
And, you know,
If you'll
I,
notice though, in the second part, in the I call it the second helping. I hate to call it that, but
right,
that's when you think of it as him being a monster and he's just eating children. He went back
right,
for his second helping, and I have a tendency to believe that at that point that it probably could have been a dog that may have spooked him away. Um,
yeah,
but he definitely had a confidence about himself for the daylight hours. And I don't
right.
know, I haven't deduced all of
And the
that
dogs would have known him though, too,
to
right? I
some
mean,
degree. To
to
some
some
degree,
degree.
yeah,
So that may have been a way he was able to bypass and,
could be, yeah,
not, they didn't go crazy. I mean, because usually strangers, come into your house, your dogs are going to go nuts. But if
absolutely,
they
yeah,
knew him, then that's, like, that may have been a way he was able to bypass them. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So,
So
I had asked how, go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, I had asked how Monica was doing, like, emotionally and mentally. Is she getting any counseling or anything? And not even just Monica, her son Cameron. Her son Cameron seemed, and I don't know her other children, so I can't speak to that. But Cameron seemed really tore up about
Yeah,
the
he is.
situation. Are they getting counseling for this? Because it's always deeper than what we know. We only
Right.
know things on the surface.
Correct.
Period.
Correct.
We only know
They
things on the surface. There's a lot that we don't know. And I'm just curious if they're getting any,
they are involved with victim advocacy and the resources. As far as what all avenues of resources they're being exposed to, I could comment. I know that the first thing on the list is trying to remove themselves from that area. That's key.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I,
No,
how many people come by that house a day, you think?
I don't need. While I was there, the day I was waiting for her to come out for the balloon release, um, there was like 4 cars that were of the same cars just circling the block, and I'm like, wow. And
Yeah,
they weren't anyone that were with the family over at the balloon release. So it was just like it was a very peculiar thing.
well, it is peculiar, but at the same time, it is a natural curiosity type of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
that's just the truth of the matter. It's like this
It
this
is.
natural curiosity that people have.
Movies or it's that morbid curiosity. But
Yeah,
this one's different. This one's real different.
yeah,
Yeah, you had a level of there was a level of violence that is really hard to imagine. When you tried to put yourself underneath the knife, put yourself in Cash's shoes. Can you imagine? Can you just even try? I mean, you can't
being
even
carried
imagine
out while you're asleep, and then you wake up to this guy,
doing whatever he decided to do
doing
before he
whatever.
killed you.
Right, right.
And then you know
Eh,
what? Like over there in that neighborhood, they put the trash in the curb on, it's not a trashy neighborhood, right? There wasn't no other
right.
trash in the street. You know,
Right.
the only trash Darion threw down that day was cash. That was it.
And it's like the way he treated him, and then to go back for the second child. It's just, Darion is the type of person that should never ever walk the streets ever again. Ever.
They ought
There
to.
should never be a reason he should ever be able to walk the streets. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a capital case, I believe, Benny.
I'm praying for it. I'm
Yeah.
praying for rain. I'm praying for rain.
Yeah.
We just gave the needle to a murderer that'd been on the road 25 years. We just burned him down about 2.5 weeks ago down there in Gatesville. So, you know, there's a portion of us
And, you know,
in
to
Texas.
many of you guys in the audience, you know, Texas is a death penalty state.
Absolutely.
And there are different opinions on the death penalty. And many, you know, if you don't agree with the death penalty, you tend not to really go, you know, fight with people about it, because it is
we vote to keep it that
prevalent.
way. We
so
like
prevalent,
it that way here.
So prevalent.
Yeah.
You know,
we like to know if someone behaves like Darion Brown, that you know, that there's the potential we might be able to, you know, watch him die behind a glass if we so choose.
Right.
So that's a beautiful thing. If you've ever been close to one of these things, you know, I lived in Michigan for a number of years, and you know, I'm involved in the music, of course, and so I had friends over the years that would. There's no death penalty. No death penalty. And you would have these heinous cases where people would have ungodly things done to them, and you wanted that, right? You wanted that for the suspect. You wanted the terriblest, but you knew you were never going to get it. And when I came here, I embraced that, right? I embrace the death penalty.
Yeah.
I'm a proponent.
Yeah. You know, I used to be too. And I also know someone that was executed by the state of Texas, but he was guilty of his crime. He was guilty. And I feel a little bit different about it now. But, you know, that's for another day. You know, that conversation's for another day. But
I apologize if I impressed that.
No,
I should have probably kept
no,
that to myself.
No, please don't. No. Your opinion is probably 9 out of 10 people's opinion in the state of Texas. It's not your opinion. I've held those views myself. And I do go back and forth sometimes with it. Absolutely. Honestly, I feel like if someone murdered me and killed me in cold blood, I would want them to be executed too. You know, my only concern is, how many innocent people have we executed, and do we have really good processes in place to make sure we're not executing innocent people? That's just like my biggest concern, you know?
I believe that, you know, there's two sides of the coin, but when you see exonerated men being released, you know, that's proof of concept, right? It's as tragic as it is, and as much as we like to look at it in a bad way and all of this, but what it actually is when we have a theme, or we have a time in life where we start bringing guys home from the joint that weren't guilty, that means there's been a growth in the technology. And so we're getting closer and closer and closer to, you know, being able to obtain clean justice every time.
Yep. Yeah, no, don't ever apologize for your views on the death penalty. Being a Texas native and talking to a Texas native, regardless of what my views are on it, period.
Thank you.
You know, I've lost people, and, you know, like I said, I kind of go in between with it. I just am a little different about it now is all. You know, that's all. So don't ever apologize for your views on that ever. Not here. Well, hey, we carry guns, and we believe in the death penalty in Texas. That's
actually
really
for those that don't know, felons in Texas, if you're 5 years out from your disposition or from your prison sentence, you can own a firearm at home. You cannot carry it in the world, and you may not go buy one. You also can't steal it. So if you, I don't know, if your dad has one, he lends to you, or your wife gives you one, or whatever. In Texas, as a felon, after 5 years, You're allowed to own a gun. Texas is a beautiful, beautiful planet to live on.
Yeah, yeah, because we are our own planet, baby. We are
That's
our
it.
own place, our
That's
own
it.
everything down here in
That's right.
Texas. That is for sure. Um, is there anything else that that you want to add, Benny, that you feel is important for us to know about Monica, about this situation, things that you feel may have been misconstrued or not told right? Is
No,
there anything that?
I encourage people to play life like golf, and golf's about the long game, right? It's not about the short game. So I would ask people to invest in the time to educate yourselves and be able to look at these scenarios from the onset all the way to a projected finality, and be able to behave accordingly in the way that you cover it or advocate it or whatever. You have the professional trolls that aren't good for anything but bringing a bone and taking a bone back. And those people are important in their own way. But if you want to do the work, you got to put your boots on and get dirty. That's all it is. And I wanted to mention one thing about toxic crime communities in children's cases. What
Sure.
happens? What happens, Leak, when you work children's cases specifically? If you have children in your home, CPS will be called on you. I've had CPS.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 5 months, and I've worked only on 2 cases, and I've had CPS twice. So it's
Wow.
just you have the people that hold these channels that advocate for whatever it is they say they advocate for, but then they self-contradict 2 ideas later, and the very system they call themselves fighting against. Oh my God, CPS is so corrupt. And the first thing they do to a fellow YouTuber that's educated,
It's the cost of
it costs you. Thankfully here in
the
Texas,
beef sector, they do stuff like that too.
that's right.
It's,
That's
you
right.
know.
So thankfully here in Texas, I can legally own a firearm, and I can legally smoke marijuana for pain in my county. So, right now,
Marijuana is not a big deal anymore in Texas. Like, they are already changing the law in Dallas.
That's it.
When people need to just kind of get prepared for those changes to come.
That's it.
And if you don't want to smoke it, don't smoke it. But I have epilepsy personally. So it's my business if I want to, and I don't have to smoke
have a card,
it.
correct?
There's tinctures. Yeah.
You have the card, right? For epilepsy, you get the card for it. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're legal, Leak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but people, I think, will be the last state to legalize in, any form. It's sad, but so I guess people are, they have a few questions. So guys, we'll go ahead and he'll answer what he can. Please be, cautious of your, there's some things he just can't talk about, and some things he can't say. So feel free to, throw your questions in the chat. And he is looking at the chat as well. And I'm not going to highlight any of them, Benny, until you tell me that they're cool to highlight.
Sure. Wow. Ayla. I that's one of the things that I struggle with right now, Ayla, is not knowing. If he was trying to start a thing and become a serial, that's just you hide your trash, you don't throw it out there like that. So I don't know. I don't know why. Let's see, Benny, can you Tiffany, I don't know what kind of evidence I would give you. I don't have his badge number or any of that. So
Is this the same Tiffany
Diamond.
that hangs out with Molly Golightly?
I don't know. I do not know.
I
don't.
wanted to ask you.
Casey Roku. I do not think he left him in the street because he was proud of what he did. You know, one of the things that I've asked myself was he in the middle of the street because he may have potentially gotten away and ran for a period before falling down in the middle of the street. That is what makes more sense to me than Brown leaving the boy in the street like that. Now, if he was planning on doing a kamikaze mission, then it makes sense. Leave the boy in the street so all the police go there, and then you go back to the house, and then there's no chance of you know being in the way of
That
of
was
other.
really weird, though, Benny. Like, that was really weird just to leave him in the middle of the street like that. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
it makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on how he was found laying, but you know, there's just some factors that have led me to think about the idea that maybe he he ran a little bit. So.
Gotcha. Is there any way that you don't have to answer this, are you able to confirm if Cash had on shorts when he was found? I've heard this in news articles, but if you don't want to answer, that's fine.
I can't. There's some details regarding the scene that we just got to keep quiet until you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you get it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Any other questions you see that you'd like to answer?
Let's see.
You know, I told you guys not to come over here dragging Monica.
Tiffany, I'm not going to prove to you, and no offense, man, but I'm not going to, that's not how we do it, I guess. You need to do a little research of your own. That's very easy to find out.
Well, let me just say this, Tiffany. I've been in your chat a couple times, and I've been in Molly Golightly's chat a couple times, and I specifically recall earlier, maybe it was today, I was in your chat, and you acted like I didn't even exist. So it's kind of funny that you're all dropping down in mine. And I kind of, mentioned earlier before this live, it's kind of funny to me, like when I'm dropping down in your chat, you went right by my questions, and all I did was complimented you and gave you compliments. Yeah. So, just, kind of chill out with all that. I mean, like,
Tiffany,
I keep game.
What you I'm sorry, Leak. Tiffany Marie, do you know the address over there on Bayberry? I don't have to tell you. Just go ahead and run that address through the appropriate search engines, get the names that are generated from that, and then search them, and then you can prove it to yourself. It'll be a great moment.
And I mean, all you'd have to do is do that, and then you can call down there to the Dallas Police Department and ask for information and figure that out. So anyway,
I can't elaborate.
She's not kind and compassionate, Quinny. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just speaking the truth that I did drop down a couple of times during a couple of her lives, and she did ignore me like she didn't see me in her live. So it's just kind of funny now that I'm interviewing Benny that she all of a sudden shows up over here. No shade. I'm just being honest. Okay. So I'll leave it at that.
Bruce Davis, I've read several of your comments, and I'm sorry, sir. I don't know if you live in another country or maybe we're got an issue with the spelling or whatever. I'm not sure about that. Hi, Janet.
No, we're not a drama channel. Question everything. No. Not at all. What you're seeing here is what you're getting. This is crime. I do crimes and justice. So I don't know what you mean by that.
Let's see. Do you think Baby Carter? What I can tell you guys about the second portion of the video that appeared in color, for whatever reasons, people are saying, well, where did the video come from? Where did the video come from? You have to deduce that it came by way of the police, right? So if you're looking at the second, the second portion, the second helping, I call it, in color, you'll notice that there's a cut in the video where where baby Carter is laying down, and then all of a sudden he's standing up. So there's clearly a cut in the video, and that's no cut Monica's made. That's a cut for either. I would say that's an evidentiary cut. There's something in there of evidentiary value or potentially that they've cut out. So I don't know the dynamics of all that, but you will notice the boy goes from laying down to standing up. That's on all channels. There's a red flash, and then there's the boy laying and then goes to standing. He's looking out the window. So
understood. Absolutely, Bruce, you are quite welcome. I think Benny and I both looked forward to doing this live because after last night, I'm not here to speak on anything about, people or anything like that, but it was just like, I just really wanted to have a conversation with Benny one-on-one where I could actually get my question out and, and ask him some questions, and knowing that, his relationship with Monica, it's who wouldn't want to talk to Benny Keyz, you know what I mean? So, anyway, hey, I really want to say thank you, Benny, for coming to the live stream tonight. I appreciate you reading my email. I look forward to working with you on other cases as well in the future. So as you work through your victim advocacy, go ahead.
No, in fact, I was going to say we ought to do like a.
You already know what's up, right? So you've got a blogger here.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I know other bloggers as well, and other crime bloggers as well.
Let's do it.
And so, yeah, it's on and popping. So it was a pleasure to have you on. We'll do this again on another case, I'm sure. And if there's any, details or anything you'd like to talk about later this week or whatever regarding this case again, if you'd like to meet up again, I'd love to have you on.
Thank you so much, madam.
You got it. So much. Thanks, Benny.
God bless you.
God bless you. Guys, thanks for hanging out while we, went through this absolutely amazing conversation with Benny Keyz. I appreciate, all of you that dropped in. Definitely subscribe to the channel and subscribe to also my Crimes and Investigations channel. Absolutely. I've seen a couple of people that I know that were in the building, but I think the comments have went by so fast. There's been a couple of new crimes and justice bloggers I've been meeting in the last couple of days, and I'm a humble person. The best way, OG Bosgow, is at LeakYou on Instagram or leaksonline@gmail.com. And by the way, just at the bottom of the screen, my email address and my Instagram is scrolling across the bottom. So just in case you forget, feel free to come back to the video and you'll see how to contact me. So thanks for everyone that says they're going to catch the replay. This was a really good live. I really appreciate Benny for coming up. And thank you very much, Diamond. Thanks to all of you. I really appreciate all the support. Oh, and All American Cartel, yes. Crimes and Justice blogger. I was trying to catch you, but I don't know what you're talking about as far as my mod. But if I laid the rules out in the beginning. So have a great life is all I can say. Anyway, guys, let's see here. Yes. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you so much for modding for me today. I really appreciate it. As you guys can see, we definitely needed a little bit of assistance in the modding department. Thank you so much, OG Bosgal. Thank you. Thank you. You would be surprised. Well, then let me help you out, Jennifer. Bye-bye. Let me help you out, sweetie. You're not blocked, Danielle. I've been seeing your comments the whole time. Yeah, you're not blocked. Not at all. Okay, well, let me help you out. Let me help you out. I'm just looking at some of y'all's comments like I'm supposed to be like what? Because you guys can't follow some simple rules of just like being nice and not dragging people. Like it's that simple. This lot, listen, I'm pretty easygoing. Anyone can tell you. And everybody knows that I'm probably one of the most easygoing people around. I let people say all kinds of shit in my chat. I let them go for it. But tonight specifically, I set some ground rules. There were some specific ground rules tonight. And if you can't respect that, then I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really that simple. I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty cool. I don't mind, letting people talk their shit in the chat. It's just that today, exactly. It's very important, that people understand that, I laid my ground rules and I was serious about those ground rules. Most of the time, I don't really give a damn about what y'all say up in the chat. So I told them from the beginning. So I'm talking about Benny. Nope, don't go there. Exactly. That was ground rule. You're not going to drag the person up on my panel. And that was Benny, period. And if you can't respect it, just, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Kick rocks. Okay. I think Shannon did a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you. And definitely you guys got to go subscribe to Benny's channel. I'll throw a link and pin a comment underneath this video. Thank you so much, guys, for all the nice comments. Oh yeah, last night was tough, wasn't it, Dancing Queen? Yeah, I didn't really want to say too much, about it. I know, but yeah, that was rough. That was really rough. So, it really is, Lisa. It's really rude to disrespect the guest, and it's kind of what I've experienced in my life when, I've been a guest on people's panels, but people be disrespecting the dog crap out of me in the chat. And this is an example on how to control your platform. You're not going to disrespect my guests. Okay. It's really that simple. Now, there's some guests that I may have that you can disrespect all day, but I'll let you know when that's okay. But it's not okay when it comes to Benny. So I appreciate you guys so much. Hit me up for sure, OG. You guys, it was great having all of you here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channels, LeakYou.com. LeakYou is my backup channel, and then I have my crimes and investigations channel. We are like 50 subs away from 1K. And the reason why 1K is so important to me for that channel is because I'll have a community board, and it will allow me to share like crime cases galore. And it gives me another venue, you know what I mean? Right. This is not a chopped and screwed, right? Some people are trying to make it one, but we're not,
we're not going to really worry about that. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night.